The world of Monster Hunter has always been something of a mystery. We know poachers and cults exist, but what were they doing there? What exactly had their attention? Why were they so dangerous? And here we're going to explore that possibility of a cult becoming dangerous. What if these cults were the ones who started these rumors, these myths, or these truths? The truths of the truths of armors possessing the user, the truths of hunters becoming monsters. And we begin our story today with a small little village. However, it's more or less a cult, a elder dragon cult, a dragon cult in general. This tribe would have been led by two people, a mother and a father. The mother of Grimlock would have died during childbirth, while he would have been raised by his father, Daggeron. Daggeron was a former hunter who wielded the power of Fatalis. And over time, it corrupted him, molded him into what he was today, a monster. Grimlock would only have one friend, this little Malfestio he called Faust. He would have raised it for the years to come, and he would have raised it to a fully mature Night Cloak Malfestio. However, when he reached the age of 18, everything changed for him. His father was now determined to bring his son into his cult, to worship the elder dragons and to make sacrifices for them. However, Grimlock wouldn't want this. He didn't want to be a part of his father's legacy. However, Daggeron was persistent as he held a tooth in his hand. His son had his blood, his DNA, and he was going to infuse it with the power of an elder dragon. This fang seemed to have chosen him for a reason. Its ice-cold power coursing through him as Daggeron stabbed his son with the tooth of a Durem Dira, an elder dragon with chilling cold powers, and this would be coursing through Grimlock's veins as he yelled out in agony, causing his Malfestio to stir in anger as the person who raised him as his only friend was just harmed in front of him. This is when Daggeron will prepare to incinerate the bird, saying that all the kindness that he has left shall be erased. However, in a quick burst of almost deadly ice that could freeze your very soul, he freezes everything, wiping out the cult and everything near him, except for Faust. Seeing that his friend was alive, he hugged him, trying to control the powers he best he can, and the two flew off, hoping to never be there again. However, they didn't account that his father Daggeron was alive and laughing in the distance, telling his son he'll see him soon. We then pick up, let's say, a month later after this incident, and we would actually pick up with the hunter, Julius. Julius would actually be hunting, get this, a Malfestio era that's been stealing food from a local village. No one was harmed, but again, they need their food. This is when Julius gets close enough to where the Malfestio springs out. It's Faust, but Julius doesn't know that. Faust attacks him with such agility and precision that Julius is caught off guard by it. He has never seen or even fought any creature with this kind of skill and precision, almost as if it was trained to fight like that. And this is where we actually see Grimlock pop out and start attacking Julius as well. The fight is long and hard, but with Julius's greater experience and skill and his dual blades, he's able to quickly dispatch Grimlock and actually gets a good, I guess you could say, a good stab on Faust. Faust then lets out a sonic boom, which temporarily disorientates Julius, allowing Grimlock to get a punch in. Julius, however, is able to get up and throw his sword right at Faust's wing, disabling him temporarily. However, when he goes to finish him, something's different. Grimlock puts his body over Faust as he's wailing in pain and defends him. And this is where Julius sees that this is something different altogether, something he can't just outright harm. And then he offers Grimlock a chance to help his friend. Seeing no other way out of this and seeing that he's no match for the hunter, Grimlock and Julius leave, together with Faust. And Grimlock then begins to explain to him what's happened to him. He explains the coursing power in his veins, how he feels unable to control it. And this is where Julius puts it together that he's Daggeron's child, the son of the hunter who betrayed all hunters. However, Julius doesn't dwell on this and instead offers Grimlock a chance to redeem himself and not his father. Taking him to Astera, the new world. It's really the beginning of Monster Hunter World here, and Grimlock is amazed by this. He had never seen such a thing here. However, people do react kind of strange to him. He's different. He's an outsider to them. He's one of them, but not really. They see the markings on his arm representing that he is a part of the cult. However, this is where Julius tells him that he'll be fine, and he calms him down. He's introduced to the huntsman, who, along with the admiral and the commander, as well as the chief, are pretty interested in him. He's seems like he's not like his father, and he doesn't want to be. However, they do know that he possesses the power of Durem Dira, a very powerful elder dragon. And this is where Julius says that they're going to train him. They're going to raise him here. And your training starts tomorrow. The next morning, Grimlock is in pretty much the training arena, and the huntsman tells him to pick a weapon. Without any hesitation, he picks up a sword and shield, or sorry, not the sword and shield, the charge blade. And this is where the huntsman says, that's going to be your weapon. You're going to learn it, and you're going to own it. And then we'll move on to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And this is when the huntsman and Julius both begin to train Grimlock together. At first it's hard, and Grimlock is a little frustrated, but he learns to control himself. And within the first, let's say, 3 months of his training, he's mastered the weapons. He's mostly adept with the great sword and the charge blade, but they see his potential. They see that he's getting better and better. And Julius decides that now it's time for his first hunt. He's beat a great Dragress, and he's already beaten all the way up to a Tobi-Kadachi. And now he goes up against an Anjanath. At first, the Anjanath is definitely trickier than the others. He tries to manhandles it, but he doesn't want to actually harm it. He sees nature in a different way now, thanks to his companion. Speaking of which, as he's fighting the Anjanath, Faust himself actually dives in to help him and actually throws the Anjanath into a trap. This allows Grimlock to not only use the vines against Anjanath, but to actually subdue the monster pretty easily. And all the while, Julius was watching from a distance, impressed at this boy's relationship with this bird wyvern, thinking that it could change everything. Now, we would have a time skip here, and Grimlock would basically go through the entire Monster Hunter World Iceborne story. He would actually be adept at hunting all these monsters, from old to new. He would basically beat them all. Now remember, this is just Iceborne, the main Iceborne story, none of the DLCs. However, we will add Zinogre, and that's pretty much it for right now. And over the course of it, he's been able to train his Malfestio to use his sonic abilities, while he has been able to get a good grip on his Duremdira abilities, even overpowering the likes of Velkhana in an ice match here. He goes around helping neighboring villages in the archipelago, and even falling in love with a princess from Arendelle. This is where we pick up with another time skip, where he basically now dons a Frostfang Barioth's armor, one of his new and pretty much his favorite armor till date, with a Frostfang greatsword. We then go to Berk, It's in the same phase as it was in How to Train Your Dragon 1. In this story, Berk is more of a trade village. Yes, they do have to call the hunters every now and then, and they do have monster protocols, but it's a trade village, pretty much giving out supplies, and is one of the more well-known trade villages next to, let's say, the New World in general. And this is where Grimlock arrives to the shore, where he is greeted by both Falca and Stoic, who would actually be together here, not separated. And Stoic greets the boy as if he's known him his whole life. And luckily for him, he has. Stoic is one of the few people that actually saw the potential in Grimlock and saw that he could be better than what his father was. Grimlock would greet Stoic as if, as friends, as comrades, as family. And this is where, they both get down to the nitty-gritty of things. He was called here for a reason, and while he is glad to see his old friends here, he knows he has business. To which Valka jokingly says that they've actually been dealing with an elder dragon. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to kill it. To which Grimlock snarkily says that, of course you haven't. You haven't had me here. And this is where we kind of get a little bit of a back and forth, but he asks them what kind of elder dragon are they dealing with. He goes over the dragons he's hunted, and Valka agrees with him that he's hunted Kushal Daora, Amatsu, Shentien. But this dragon is Mordu Mento, the Ravager King, the Hungry King, the Devouring Elder Dragon, a dragon of unimaginable power. And this almost shakes Grimlock to his core here. He's never hunted something like this before. And this is when he also asks the new recruits ready, to which Stoic presents his son Hiccup, and he presents their best warrior, Astrid. To which Astrid is actually a bit curious on how is Grimlock any different from any hunter, to which Grimlock says he's part elder, or he is an elder dragon. To which Astrid really doesn't understand how that works, but Grimlock tells her in due time. Hiccup is the only one a bit nervous about this. You see, Hiccup doesn't want to be a hunter. He wants to be a researcher. To which Grimlock says you need to learn how to work with a hunter in order to do that kind of research. Also, how do you expect to defend yourself? By hiding every time? By running? This is when Astrid, quietly threatens him not to mess this up for her, to which Hiccup agrees. Now, he tells them to meet him in the gate within the hour and to bring their best weapons. While at the gate, he thinks to himself, what is he getting himself into? This dragon isn't supposed to appear for another 20 years. In the forest, Astrid is pretty much eager to get a hunt on, while Hiccup is perfecting his tracking skills, finding some way that he could benefit the team here. And this is where Astrid actually begins to ask Grimlock all the questions she can, pretty much like a geek, She asks Grimlock about the Elder Dragons, about everything he's done over the years, about his origins. Grimlock spills very little, but she does give her information about the Elder Dragons until he hears Faust's screech from the distance, to which he pushes Astrid and Hiccup out of the way of black spikes. This is Mordu Mento's ability, the ability to secrete this black liquid. He's able to bend it to his will, able to freeze people solid with it. However, Grimlock uses his Duremdira abilities to counteract it. And this is where the fight begins to get a little intense for him. Donning his great sword, he goes toe-to-toe with the creature, outmaneuvering and landing heavy and deadly blows. He then signals Faust to dive bomb it, to which the Nightcloak Malfestio just swoops down and slams the Elder Dragon into the ground and embeds it with its wing spikes into its back. This is when Grimlock is able to grab the head and actually freezes the insides of the creature's brain and then just slams it into the ground, killing the creature from the inside out. Basically slamming to the ground so hard that his brain shatters on the inside. Grimlock then throws up some ice spikes to basically counteract the Mortimento's this black liquid spikes, and then he begins to harvest it and convert some of Mortu's parts into a great sword. He drags it back to the village, answering Astrid and Hiccup's questions on if they want to be hunters or not. What does it take? What does it mean to be a hunter? He answers all of their questions yet again while dragging the carcass back to the village and drops it at an impressed Valka's feet, considering this was again his first time hunting this elder dragon. Grimlock then says that he actually took the black liquid for himself as he could probably use it in the future. And this is where he turns to Hiccup and Astrid, asking them are they ready for their training. Hiccup, again a little nervous, while Astrid is actually much more excited for it. Both say yes in their respective tones, to which Grimlock says that he'll be waiting for them at the boat, pack your things, and that they'll be going. And that's where we're going to leave it off here. Grimlock taking both Hiccup and Astrid as students. Grimlock's origin starts off of one of pain, but then he becomes the hero that we all needed in Iceborne. So, let me know down below what you think. Please comment, like, and subscribe and share to friends. And I'll see you guys for part 2.